I'll call this meeting of the Human Resources Committee to order. It's Monday, June 27th, with about 5:55. We're at Nashua High School North, and the people present with us tonight are, the committee member is, I'm Sandra Ziem, of course, I'm the chair, and then on my, let's see, this is my left here?
Right.
Right. See, I don't know right and left. I'm in big trouble. Is Sharon, Mrs. Julio. She is one of our members. And then tonight, our alternative is with us, Jessica Brown. On my left is our wonderful HR director that I'm sorry to break the bad news. We're going to be losing her. And so I can only say that it's a great loss and that it was a privilege to work with you. You were professional from the get-go, always. And so I'm just, it was an honor, truly it was. And thank you for your service to our district, to our children, to our community.
Well, thank you.
I wish you great happiness. And then on her left is a gentleman who we're going to be seeing more of now. He is the HR management, and his name is Mike Bowe. Am I pronouncing that correct? Bow, maybe?
It's Bouse, but with a kind of like a house, but with a B.
Okay.
So Bouse.
Bouse. Well, it's nice to meet you. Welcome. We're glad. And then we finally have one of our candidates who is going to be running for office. I'll get to you. Actually, I'll be introducing you as part of the agenda. So I will get to that. I'm wondering, Mike, would you like to share with the public just a few quick things about how long you've been with the district? Quite a while, I think.
I've been with the district for a little over a year now.
So, well, welcome. We're in need of good people, so we appreciate your being there to fill in our great loss, and look forward to working with you.
Happy to be here.
Yes, and so the first thing on our agenda is personnel recommendations. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the personnel recommendations of June 27th, 2022 as given to us.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and before we, of course, I'm going to give you both an opportunity if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I guess I'll jump in and say that I'm sorry to see all of the good people that we are losing, and to thank you for your service. I think of Susan O'Rourke, but there were so many names of so many good people that I couldn't call them all, but please know that your gift will be remembered long after I've forgotten your name, because the children whose lives you impacted will remember you always. I remember teachers from 50 years ago. I couldn't tell you their names, but I remember the impact they had on my life. And so that is the gift that you bring and give to our children, and we are grateful for it. Having said that, would either of you have any comments on the...
I have no comments on this.
No. So I'll just take one vote then. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. So it's unanimous. No need to vote the other end. And we will move on to administrative recommendations. And I think I'm going to blow it here.
Do you want me to make the motion for that too?
Okay.
Okay. I move that we motion, well, okay, let me start over. I make a motion that we approve the administration recommendations to approve Jothan, is it Jothan? Jothan Massey as assistant principal for Nashua High School North, the 22-23 school year, at an annual salary of $83,000.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Having said that, I'm glad that she messed your name up instead of me. I feel like people think I'm... Would you... I'm thinking... I was speaking to you earlier, and I heard somebody say that you've been in the district, so maybe you want to share with us some of your history with the district and how you came to be stepping up to this leadership position, and we look forward, obviously, to working with you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm really excited to get into this position. I was hired by Nashua right out of college. I've been at Nashua South. I think this is my 14th year. I've been a math teacher. Previous to this, I was taught almost every class I think we've offered, except for calculus. I guess kind of moving into this position, I've always wanted to, or I've always loved working with our students, and I've always looked for different ways to connect with our students. I've been a coach, a freshman coach of baseball, varsity coach as well. I've also been the for the past 8 years, the swim coach here at North. So I do have some ties to North, too. I get a little bit of heckling going back and forth. Now I got a lot more after the school year ended. But I've always searched to connect outside of the classroom with our students, and I think it's drove me to go for this, a position like this, to go into administration, to be able to have a longer connection with our students. I've always said I'm one of the luckier coaches because I'll have students in the swim team that start as freshmen, and then I get to see them off as seniors. So having that connection really drives me to be a better educator and helps and wants me to, or pushes me to
Motivates.
do more
Yes, motivates.
for this community.
Yeah. I remember, I only taught Sunday school, never so great a mission as yours, but I remember running to some of the kids years later and not recognizing them, and they said, "How could you forget me after all we went through?" So, and of course, once they started talking, then of course it came, but they didn't realize in 10 years they become adults. And so, well, of course, at least you see them as adults because you're at the
Yes.
high school, so they're already. But it will be interesting because sometimes we have some spirit on the board from the South and the liaison students.
Yes.
That, one will
I
go
had
first.
I had Samay this year.
So you've seen it, yes. Any questions or comments?
I'd just like to thank you for your loyalty to the Nashua School District. It's really important that we have people, not looking at you, Diane, but no, it's really, it means a lot to the district. It means a lot to the students, especially since you've touched students from both high schools, to know that they're going to see these people, next year and the year after. And so that loyalty is appreciated by me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I had the pleasure of sitting on Jothan's hiring committee, and I can say that what made him stand out above the other candidates was his obvious passion for the kids, the students. Everything that you thought in the whole conversation was student-centered, and even looking at helping other teachers from an advisory standpoint find better ways to connect with their students in a daily atmosphere. So I think that you're going to be a wonderful addition to the North team, and I'm glad that you're going to be with us more.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. When you go into coaching, is there special training, education that you get for that, or does that you just fall into place because you love it?
A little bit of both. I mean, there are some certifications that I have to carry to be a coach at the high school level. I had to do a fundamentals class, and we have to keep up with CPR and first aid and all of that stuff. But there wasn't anything specific like, oh, you got to be. I didn't have to go and show them I could do an Olympic swim or something like that. But
Well, thank you so much. And so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it's unanimous.
All right,
We love you already.
all right, thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And you can, if you don't wish to stay for the rest of our dry meeting, we understand. But if you like to hear all this dry air, then you feel welcome to stay. And so let's see. Next is the job description for the head social worker.
Thanks, Jothan.
Well, do you want? So. Right, so Diane, would you like to, do you have comments that you'd like to share with us, or?
This is a new job description here, and it's something that would be working with Bob Chopa and his team, and so we're looking to have the language of the job description approved.
I have some comments. You may not know this, but I started out my career as a social worker. So out of college, I was a social worker in a psychiatric hospital, which did me in good stead going forward to my other careers. But anyway, and I did not have an MSW. This was in 1971, although I was state certified in Massachusetts as a civil servant social worker. And had I decided to continue with that career longer than the 4 years I did, I would have gone for the MSW, because even at that time it was considered important. The one thing I noticed on this description under education and experience is that master's degree is preferred, but it's not required. But I have in front of me a school social worker description that's dated 10/23 that says that the minimum requirement, let me just put my glasses back on. This is very tiny print. That says, a master's degree in social work or a related field, and that does not mesh with what this job description said, and that's the only thing that I think should be added. I feel pretty strongly about
This
that.
was mirrored the minimum requirements after the head teacher job description, but if it's something that the committee feels you'd prefer the master's being required versus preferred, that's something that we could change.
I do, and in particular, I think a master's degree in social work is probably the ideal, because they go through a different kind of rigor than people who are getting counseling degrees. Sure. And we have a number of psychologists who have very advanced degrees on our staff, and I just think if this person is going to be overseeing some people who already have an MSW, that this person should have that same experience and degree. So I would appreciate that.
Sure.
Do you have any comments? Jessica, would you like to add anything?
No, I think that's an excellent suggestion by Ms. Giglio, so I would support it. And how many individuals would this person be advising?
That I'm not sure of. Right now, it was just really getting the language of the job. However many social workers, it's a district-wide position.
So does it somewhat depend on how many we end up being able to
Right,
hire,
and it's
probably,
really
because
providing, the
at this
professional
point-
development and then the buckets that are listed here.
Okay, I guess my other question is one of these going to be enough to travel amongst all the schools?
I think that's the plan in the beginning, is to have one.
Thank you.
There's probably a greater need, but there may not be enough money. So sometimes need, money don't go together, and I think money usually wins out. Do you have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that that the job description as presented tonight for school social worker be adopted with one change, which relates to the experience in education, and I would like to see that job require a master's degree in social work. Thank you.
I'll second.
Got it down? Do you need help getting that down? I understand there's a
I'm
real strict.
writing, adopt the job description for the head social worker, editing the experience to a master's degree required. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything that you'd like to add further? I don't want to cut anybody off.
No, I think what I would recommend, rather than just saying bachelor's degree in education, just say a master's degree in social work or related field, and just take out that last sentence.
Social work or related field.
Master's
A master's degree in social work.
I think that's very clear and concise. Related
Just take
fields
out
can
that-
get a little
Basically
cloudy.
taking out the first sentence altogether, and just, so striking the first sentence and then saying master's degree in social work, period.
Okay.
And just leave it at that.
Are you comfortable? You have it under control? I don't want Jennifer to get on us. Okay, so if we're ready.
Ms. Giglio was first, I second.
So I guess maybe we should vote individually, because all those in favor? Aye. I think it's pretty unanimous, so.
All right.
And then the next thing on our agenda, I can't see, I'm blind, is a summer hiring proposal. Would you like to speak to that?
Sure. Would you like me to read it?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought it would be a good idea for her to read it, because not only for this committee, but for the public, it was lengthy, as I remember, and so I just thought it would give a better understanding. So yes, please, I appreciate that.
Okay. During the months of July and August, it's imperative that the district recommend and hire in a timely manner. With employee fatigue quite high, the district cannot afford to relive another school year with low or fragile staffing levels. Furthermore, the district has lost candidates who accepted other positions due to the time delay for obtaining board approval. After discussions with superintendents during the New Hampshire South Central meeting, several districts delegate authority to the superintendent of schools to recommend and hire over the summer without board approval. Examples include provide the superintendent with the authority to hire, terminate, and release staff from contract during the summer months. Give the superintendent the authority to hire staff over the summer without board approval. Given the critical need to fill open positions for the 2022-2023 school year, it is recommended that the Nashua Board of Education strongly consider allowing the superintendent to hire personnel between July 1st and August 26th, 2022. Then, at the first Human Resources Committee meeting in September, a complete list of certified personnel hired during this timeframe will be presented. I request that the Nashua Board of Education allow the Nashua superintendent to hire personnel between July 1st and August 26th, 2022. Thank you. Should the board not agree to this, it is our recommendation to schedule a special BOE meeting weekly to approve the hiring of staff. Past practice has been to hold a meeting every 14 days, but the critical need would necessitate decreasing that window.
So do you have other things you want to say?
So in short, it's just right now, because of these unprecedented times and just we're trying to get folks in, we're trying to get teachers in the classroom, is just for that 8-week window from July 1st till the end of August to just let us make the offers and get these folks hired, get their orientation scheduled, and then we'll present to you a listing in the end of August. And it's just, this is just a Band-Aid right now just to try to move the process along, because we don't want to run into what we did last year, which is losing candidates in the short term, and especially right now with this competitive job market.
So if I'm understanding it, basically the choice is that we can either allow administration to approve the hiring during the summer months, or we can choose to have a weekly meeting.
Correct.
So, Mrs.
I seem to be speaking a lot tonight, which is not typical of me. But anyway, I have a couple of, I understand the concern, and I absolutely agree. I know how the job market is, and I do think that we need to make sure that we give every good candidate the opportunity to accept our job in a timely manner. I absolutely agree with that. However, National Board of Education Policy, BDEB, states that one of our jobs is the jurisdiction of the committee shall be all personnel matters, and also the committee shall review and recommend candidates to the board who have been nominated for employment by the superintendent. If we normally meet 4 times during the summer, if we were to meet every week, it would increase that to 8 times. But we would need just a quorum of 5 of the 9 of us to be at each of those meetings to do that. I think it's an important role for us, and I don't like to give it up. I, for one, can be at a Monday night meeting all summer long. I can't in September, but I can be in July and August. I don't know how any of my colleagues feel about that. I know summer's a very sacred time, but I understand what you're saying about our losing candidates, because they're really eager to sign the contract. And, you know, I don't know if we could do Zoom meetings or if we need to do in-person meetings, but I, for one, would be willing to be there for all of those meetings every week.
Do any of the other have any thoughts on the subject? Mrs. Brown?
From a scheduling standpoint, I think getting a quorum once a week is going to be a toughie in the summertime. I do agree with you that it is an absolute priority for the Board of Education to be doing this, and we can't be losing candidates because we can't get a meeting scheduled. And I would be concerned that we'd have 4 people and then maybe somebody just couldn't make it at the last minute and we'd be in a real bind. I'm wondering if, since we're almost to July, what if would you feel more comfortable if we did this? I'm guessing, maybe Diane, you can clarify, or Mike, the primary hiring season, is that going to be like right now, and then August will be like it'll be more urgency in August?
Well, we're just, right now, teacher openings in and of itself, we're looking at a significant number of just teacher openings. And Mike has a pile on his desk to make offers. The issue is, we can make the job offer, but it isn't over till it's over until we get the board approval. So you have people waiting to give their notice. In the meantime, they're sitting on, they're not just interviewing in one place. So that's why this is just it's a suggestion, a recommendation just for that 8-week block of time so that we can move them along and then present all of you with a list after, the end of August saying these are the folks that we've hired.
So my wondering if I could compromise with this, maybe if we changed the date range for the month of July, like say yes for the month of July, but change the date to, we have a meeting, I was just looking at this Board of Ed's regular meeting. We have one scheduled for July 25th, and then we also have one scheduled for the 22nd, July 25th and the 22nd. Would that make you comfortable if we were to?
Can I interject something, if I may, Sharon? My concern is different from Mrs. Giulio's. I'll leave here saying your name wrong, I'm so sorry. My concern is, for instance, specifically, we are going to be looking at replacing our esteem. We're going to, at this great loss that sits on my left, and it is a great loss. I'm very sincere about that. And so I would not want that job hired if I were on. I'm not going to be here. You all know that I've resigned. But if I were going to be here, that's one of the things that would bother me about this, that it might be that would be the very job that would fall into that window. And I would, because it is such a critical, I think your job is utmost importance. I couldn't say over the years I've seen how important it is, so.
I hadn't actually considered it from that angle. I wonder if we could edit this to say, so I guess I would be comfortable personally with the district principals and superintendent hiring teaching positions, but maybe we should edit this to say any executive level positions should come before the board? Would that?
Well, I'm assuming that we would still be included as a member of the interviewing team for any principals or assistant principal positions, as we always.
The process, that part of the process hasn't changed. We're just asking to be able to go ahead and make the hires without waiting for the board blessing and the board approval.
No,
That's all.
I'm looking at, and I completely, believe me, I completely understand that, but we've got July 3rd as next Monday, and I do believe it's sort of a semi-holiday. I don't know if we could have a meeting July 3rd. I think we would not have a quorum. That's probably a good guess. But could we maybe consider meeting all the Mondays in July and then revisiting this after the last July meeting, depending on how many piles of willing candidates Mike still has on his desk?
I think the alternative to what you're saying is going to Mrs. Brown's suggestion. I personally don't see that we don't get as involved in the teachers anyway.
No,
and
we
the
just
teachers are the
approve.
largest number, are they not? I mean, we have 800 teachers, so if we only lost 20%, it would still be a loss of this large number. And the numbers have been exponentially higher than they've ever been in my 14 years anyway. So I'm wondering if it would be more preferable if we divided it and made it that the teachers, how would you feel about that? I guess I'm asking you because you're the expert.
Well, I mean, relatively speaking, whether it's the administrative positions, you still run that risk.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, in trying to get the school staffed up for August with the openings that we have. So that's the risk you run. So
I have a lot of respect for the people in the individual buildings who do the hiring, and we basically, for all the meetings that I've been on the last 2 years on this committee, there are very few where we question any of those recommendations. I mean, there have been times, and so we'd be giving up the right to do that. That's the one thing that I see we'd be losing if we and I don't think, I mean, I would not be comfortable going all the way to the end of July before we meet again at any rate. It just doesn't make sense if we have all these people to hire and waiting until September. I don't know, I just, it's basically how I feel. I'm not like hard-headed about it, but I think that it's an important part of our role, and I hate to give it up. However, I don't want to lose one person who's qualified that we want to have because we're not able to meet.
And I get that it's less than ideal, but this is what other districts are doing right now, you know, to try to mitigate this situation, you know, the job market that we're in. And it's really just that 8-week window to let us make the offers without having to wait for board approval. So it's just, it's weighing the risk of losing people versus, you know, when the next meeting's going to be.
Did you make a motion?
No, I did not.
No,
I just
have not
was
made a
expressing
motion.
my
Okay,
concern.
all right. Mrs. Brown?
So I think I would, if you all be willing to, I would be willing to vote for it if we make this edit. Give the superintendent the authority to hire staff, authority to hire teachers, paras, and hourly staff over the summer without school board approval. And I would think I would be comfortable with that, and then also changing the date timeline to August 22nd, when we do actually have a meeting
Well,
scheduled.
why don't we make
anyway.
one motion at a time?
So, well, I was going to say, those would be the two things that I would be able to vote for this,
You're saying you're going to follow that up with the second motion, which would be,
to change the timeline. Those two edits would be my preference.
so why don't you make the one
Is there,
motion?
I think Diane had something to add,
I'm
maybe.
sorry, what was the third, you said teachers, paras, what was the third bucket?
Teachers, paras, and hourly staff. Would that cover like food service workers, and would that be broad enough for that? Or if you needed a secretarial position,
The other way you
something.
could say it is you could put it that the only ones that wouldn't be would be the executive,
on the list.
executive administrators, which
Paras and food service don't even go before the board.
Okay.
paras don't, that's correct. Thank you. That's why we have you here, to keep it straight. So is that the motion that we're making?
So I move to edit this document to give the superintendent authority to hire staff. How would you guys prefer me to say it? Executive positions, or list teachers, paras, and,
Well, you don't want to put paras because the paras.
oh, you don't have
they
to?
don't come
Okay,
before us
teachers and
anyway.
hourly staff?
Hourly staff don't go before the board.
It's just the teachers, right? So it would just,
But do we need that to qualify? I'm wondering, do we need like the word social worker in there or something like that?
for clarification purposes, anybody who's not a teacher would be administrative, would they not? Are we closing into?
I just don't want to give you the option and then tie your hands.
Or teachers, we kind of define teachers, anybody under the teacher contracts, SLPs, school psychs, things of that.
Would principals and student principals?
They're on a separate contract.
So anyone who falls under the teacher contract, would that be the best way to say it, probably?
I would think so, yep.
All right.
Okay.
So I move to edit this document to allow the superintendent to hire staff over the summer, hire anyone who falls under the teacher contract without board approval over the summer.
And can I just ask for clarification? So the people who weren't teachers would be like the social worker, the psychologist, or are they're not under, some of those are under,
Principal, my position,
say that again?
principal, assistant principal, you know. For example, if you look at the bucket today, there you have the large list, and then you have the administrative list underneath.
Yep.
So it would be the same way.
I'm not, so what are you saying to me?
Your question, the administrative recommendations are separate.
Yes, who is included in the teachers' union and who is not, just for clarification purposes for me, so that I know what I'm voting for.
Okay, so the teachers would be the social workers, the guidance counselors, the nurses.
Yeah, but it would not be you, would it? Because you would be a
Speech language-
director. Yeah, okay.
Speech language pathologist
Yes, that's
and
good.
school psychs.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry to, I just want, sometimes you think you understand what people are saying, and then after the fact, turns out you didn't, and you got a mess. So I think they call that unintended consequences. So I appreciate, Mike, I look forward to you keeping us straight. So would you like to repeat the motion for people?
I move to approve that the superintendent, I give the superintendent authority to hire any positions falling under this teacher's contract over the summer without board approval.
Is this a second? You don't want a second?
I don't want to say.
I'll second.
Oh, okay.
No, you
I mean,
can't.
I'm not officially here.
Yeah, you can't, because and it
up
was
to you.
too late. It was too late. Well, I guess that that leaves me in the precarious position of wanting to ask you why you're unhappy with that.
I'm actually, well, I've expressed everything, and I'm actually going to vote in favor of it. I just don't feel, based on my personal feeling about it, that I'm the best person to second the motion.
Okay.
Because of Ms. Carey assuring us that we would still be interviewing for the assistant principal and principal positions all summer, and that was a big concern of mine. So I just don't want to second it, but I'll vote in favor of it. So if you second it, we'll be happy.
I will second it, and I will add that a perfect example of that is that, like tonight, when the gentleman who's going to be North's assistant principal, it gives us an opportunity, the board and the public, an opportunity to start getting to know the people who are going to be involved in our children's lives, and so it's kind of nice that way too. So that was just a second thought. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think I heard all three voices, so I'm going to take that as unanimous. And I think, now is there another motion, Mrs.?
Is the committee in favor of moving the date up to our August meeting for the timeline?
So are you saying instead of waiting until September or whatever, that when we do meet in August on the 22nd, that might be a good time for the superintendent to give us the list of everyone that's been hired during the previous 7 weeks? I think that would be nice. Yeah, I'm in favor of that too.
That would be just the teachers, though? That's not addressing the...
Correct. I think if there's, I assume that under the way this motion is written, if the committee members or board members would still be called up if we need to hire for committees for
It
principals.
would go back, it would revert to the previous
The
way that we
traditional
always did it.
method.
Okay, all right, so will you please repeat that motion again? I want to be sure it's clear so that our chair doesn't get me.
So I move to amend the proposal to grant authority through August 22nd.
Second?
So once again, I'm not sure what you're saying. You're saying that the next month they have the freedom to hire as they deem appropriate based on the the fact that the board wouldn't be able to meet weekly. Okay. Correct. Okay, and then in August, instead of giving them 2 months, it's 1 month, is basically what we're saying.
It's like 6 weeks instead of 8 weeks.
And then if Dr. Andre decides he wants, then he can ask for another motion, and I won't be here, so not that I won't miss you all. All right, that having been said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Is there any other business to come before this? So I would like to say, since this is my last meeting, I would like to thank Sharon. When I couldn't make it, which was too often, she was always, I can't even, she's wonderful. We're lucky to have her. I hope you'll all take care of her because she's a great lady, and I just want to express my gratitude for her support through the whole time, not just through the whole time that I've known you. You've been wonderful. So thank you so much. And thank you to everybody out there. It's been great, but I'll see you later. And all that, do I have the last motion?
I motion that we adjourn.
All those in favor?
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry. My last boo-boo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting. Thank you.